Good morning. My name is Carla Dickerson, and I will be doing a summary on Psel 3C. The article that I chose was Equitable Higher Education, Students' Perspective on Access to Resources, Participation, and Educational Outcomes. This was actually done in the province of Punjab. The students that were chosen, it was 641 students. They were chosen out of the 27 universities that were in the province. They chose 3 specific universities. These students were either master's, 3rd, or 4th semester students. They were in their final semester, or they were BS students that were in their 7th or 8th semester. These students were chosen, and they were able to participate in a questionnaire. This questionnaire was made up by the researchers. They had 65 questions that talked about or gave different angles to the subject of access to resources, participation, and educational outcomes. What they also used, the theoretical framework that they used, was talking about equity. How does equity look? Do the students have access to the resources regardless of where they grow up, how their parents grow up, regardless of how much their family makes, regardless of their father's or their mother's education? What they wanted to know is, was there fairness in education? Does everyone have that equal access to goals? Does everyone have that equal access to participation? Does everyone have that equal access to the outcomes that are from education? Because what is found is that education provides equal chances of upward social mobility. So regardless of what you have, everybody should have a great education, because equity in education leads to improved economic, social, and individual outcomes, and it increases their chance for employment and productivity. The findings were based on 9 hypotheses that they had. These hypotheses had to do with the 3 objectives for the study, which were to reveal the student perspectives, which were to explore the relationship between those 3 things, the access to resources, the participation, and the outcomes, and to access the differences. What was found was that there definitely was a correlation between the access to resources and participation. There was also a correlation between equitable participation and equitable outcomes. There was no difference between males and females and their perspective. So they basically felt the same way. Something else that was really interesting for me that this article found was that there was a difference between where the students were located, whether they located in a rural community or whether they were in a city. Of course, they said the students that grew up in the city, they had a greater chance for participation and equitable participation in different things they were exposed to more. They also talked about how important basically a mother is. And they didn't say it in those words, but the mother's job had an impact while the father's job didn't. The mother's education had an impact while the father's didn't. If the mother was uneducated, then the students had less of access to the resources than for those mothers who are educated. Another thing about the working or the careers, the kids whose mothers were housewives, they had a greater access to resources than kids whose mothers were career or professionals. And I think that this was actually a great article. The question that I posed was, as a school leader, how can you ensure that each student has equitable access to effective teachers and sufficient resources despite their cultural background, performance level, gender, ethnicity, and SES status? In the wake of the COVID-19, there has been more exposure about equitable resources. Did all of our students have what they needed? When we went out for COVID-19, did all of our students have access to the internet? Do all of our students have access to computers? Were all of our students able to do that? And I know for sure that there were not equitable resources. And one of the reasons why I say that is because some of the teachers were already doing it. It was already built into their week to do digital days. It was already built into their school, while other schools did not have the opportunity. So were our students slighted if they didn't have that training, or if the teachers didn't have prior training? These are the things that we talk about when we're thinking about if our students have equitable if our students have equitable access to resources, participation, and outcomes. Thank you.